Let's get you started with the headlines. Hardliner Samajwadi Party MP Mohibullah Nadvi, who defended jihad in the past, caught on camera defying court order, instigating pelters during Delhi demolition drive. Instigators caught on camera raising Allahu Akbar slogans, misleading charge up mob during the Delhi demolition drive, tried to whip up frenzy by claiming the mosque was being demolished. TMC MP Mahua Moitra hails Umar Khalid putting on a pedestal. Penn's poem for him alleges that UAPA charges against him are bitter and twisted lies. BJP cites 1951 Nehru letter to then Pakistan Prime Minister opposing the reconstruction of Somnath Temple. Meanwhile, in 2025, Congress ally DMK remains defiant over lighting of the Deepam. BJP says 75 years on, it's the same anti-Hindu mindset. CNN News 18 shows you what no one else has from ground zero in the Deepam storm. We reveal what DMK is hiding even as the party remains defiant despite the Madras High Court setback. Goa government turns down opposition's demand to discuss illegal nightclubs, instead decide to have a discussion on 150 years of Vande Mataram. Hindus along with students from other minority communities in Dhaka send SOS to New Delhi amid Islamist rampage in the country. Sources say New Delhi ready to offer urgent visa assistance to facilitate their exit. Cyclist left battling for his life. A speeding car rams into him while driving on the wrong side in one of the busiest streets in Bihar's Bhagalpur. CNN News 18 joins this campaign to right this wrong. In a rare and unnatural show of support, Tamil Nadu government backs censor board over delays in certification of Vijay's film, his farewell film, Jananayagan. Back the board's right to review the film. HC reserves order on the producer's plea. After Venezuela, Trump warns of more strikes, issues threats across continents from Colombia to Cuba, even neighboring Mexico. Violence erupted in Delhi's Ramlila Maidan area during an anti-encroachment drive near the Faiz Elahi Mosque. This happened late last night in the wee hours of this morning. Stones were pelted at MCD teams, forcing people or the police to use tear gas, in fact, against these protesters. Delhi police has arrested 5 people in this case so far, and identification of many more who've been caught on camera instigating that mob is now underway. Several videos have surfaced online showing mobilization before the violence. In a clip that is now going viral, Samajwadi Party MP Mohibullah Nadvi is seen in a heated argument with the police. He was spotted at the site at about 1 a.m. and that has led to questions regarding his role in the incident. Remember, he's the same member of parliament who had once in the house said that Muslims would wage jihad against oppression. Meanwhile, Samajwadi Party has come out in support, or at least one of his former colleagues has come out in support, stoking a fresh controversy after he blames security forces for the violence and targeting one particular community. There are fresh visuals that are now emerging from this demolition site. These are videos that are now going viral. There are protesters who are raising the Allahu Akbar slogans amid the demolition drive. In fact, calls came in from some protesters who claimed that the mosque was being demolished. That was the rumor that was spread, which led to this kind of mayhem on the streets of Delhi. That misinformation that spread amid this demolition drive triggered this stone pelting, eventually leading to tear gas and lathi charge by the police. At least 5 people have been arrested by the Delhi police in this particular case. Investigations are on to identify all of those others in that mob that were pelting stones at the Delhi police. These are visuals of the accused in police custody. Anshul, my colleague, now joins us, getting us more details on this. Anshul, 5 of them at last count were under arrest, but there are many more in that mob that need to be held accountable as well. What is the status on the investigation of that?
Well, the Delhi police has mentioned in that FIR that at least 30 to 35 people had gathered right after the police started to put out barricades over here at Turkman Gate. And it is at that point that initially there was a tussle that broke out between the personnel of Delhi police and these so-called protesters, where they snatched away the mic from the hands of a constable of a Delhi police who was announcing that section 164 of the BNSS has been imposed over here and they cannot protest over here. And once that happened, they broke down the barricades and started pelting stones towards the police officers. Right behind me is the bylane from where the crowd started to come out and gather over there. But thanks to the security arrangements of the Delhi police, these unruly anti-social elements were actually dispersed from there. Now, as the stone pelting was happening, 5 police officers got injured, and the local beat officers thankfully were able to identify at least 5 of these people who were locals of this area, who actually were instigating the crowds to come out and attack the police officers. It is at that point that finally, after the crowds were dispersed, these 5 identified people were taken into custody. Apart from this, at this point in time, the Delhi police has gotten access to more than 100 CCTV footages and footages from body cams of the police officers. Through these footages and body cams footages of the police officers, the identification process of the other 30 to 35 people is being done. Because remember, this was not a huge mob that had gathered over here, but this was just 30 to 35 people who gathered over here, started raising slogans against the Delhi police, against the Delhi government, and then eventually started pelting stones. So that process of identifying these accused is underway, and over the next few days, that it could take somewhere around the next 24 to 36 hours for the Delhi police to go through that entire CCTV dump and identify the other people who were part of these crowds. Now, how is this identification process being done? This identification is being done through local police officers, through local beat officers. Apart from that, the other local eyewitnesses who were present either on their rooftops, who were present inside their houses, they are also being called in to join into the investigation and identify the other accused or identify the other people who were the part of that mob. So over the next 24 to 36 hours, this process will come to an end, and now it remains to be seen if at all the Delhi police will be able to bring all these accused to the books, because 24 to 36 hours is a long time, and in that period, these accused, they know that they will be identified. They could try to flee from the national capital, from the grasp of the Delhi police. So the next few hours are going to be very, very crucial for the Delhi police, as they will have to identify each and every person and make sure that all of them are brought to the books.
Absolutely, Anshul, do stay on with us. Several of these videos that are now going viral, several of them we cannot authenticate on our own, but these are videos that are under the scanner of the Delhi police and under investigation. And they sort of show a pattern of how this looks like a premeditated conspiracy, so to say, against the Delhi police and the MCD officers. This is one of the videos that we've accessed here on CNN News 18, in which you can see the mob there pelting stones across those barricades, even as the demolition drive is being conducted there. What's interesting is that there is a religious connotation that comes to the fore. There were videos that were made viral right before this to claim that the mosque was under attack and the mosque was going to be demolished, which is why the members of the minority community were mobilized towards this particular location to pelt stones. Slogans were also raised while that stone pelting was taking place. There was another video that came to the fore, and that shows the instigation. This is a video in which the rumor was first floated. This video was put out on social media, was circulated via WhatsApp group chats, asking people to gather at the mosque, showing the kind of mobilization that was taking place, asking and appealing to people that there was some kind of oppression that was taking place against the minority community, and that all of them must come together and save the mosque. That kind of video is something that could have triggered this entire incident in the first place. The hunt, of course, is on for this particular individual, questioning of whom will also be undertaken by the Delhi police. But what exactly transpired when it all got heated there? Listen in.
इन्होंने देखो बिल्डोजर भी बुला लिए हैं और इनकी पूरी मिलिट्री भी आ गई है। भाई देखो आप, ये देखो हज मंजिल है तुर्कमान गेट पे। भाई साहब, इनकी पूरी मिलिट्री भी लगी हुई है और ये मीडिया वाले आए हुए हैं। भाई ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोग भाई दरगाह फैजलाई पे पहुंचे। आप लोगों से भाई हाथ जोड़ के गुजारिश है।
Now, this was just one such video that was trying to gather some steam, give some momentum to this particular movement. But what was also interesting is that there is a Samajwadi Party member of parliament that was present when those protests were breaking out. He was seen jostling with the police. He was seen arguing with the police as well. That is the Samajwadi Party MP in question. What is even more interesting is that this is not the first time that this SP MP has been part of such agitations. In fact, in the past, not too long ago, inside the parliament, he's gone on to make a statement back in December while he was speaking about the Waqf reform, where he went on to talk about jihad and waging this kind of narrative and a war against what he claimed was oppression.
ऐसा लगता है कि आर्टिकल 25 और 26 को खत्म कर दिया गया है और मुसलमानों की जिंदगी हमारे प्यारे वतन में ही तंग कर दी गई है, जिसकी वजह से माननीय स्पीकर साहिबा वो लोग जिनके पुरखों ने आजादी की लड़ाई लड़ी थी, मौलाना अरशद मदनी, वो कह रहे हैं कि जुल्म और नाइंसाफी के खिलाफ लड़ना शायद हमें दोबारा लड़ना पड़ेगा और जिहाद करना पड़ेगा। आखिर कब तक मुसलमानों को इस तरह से दबाया जाता रहेगा मुल्क में?
Anshul continues to be with us. Anshul, as far as this SP MP is concerned, Mohibul Nadwi, is he going to be questioned as well? Is he going to be under the lens of the Delhi police too?
Well, yes, we spoke to the Delhi police as well, and they say that yes, that angle is also being investigated. If at all, he also tried to instigate a few other people to get over there. But what was the exact sequence of events? The demolition drive started at approximately 1:30 a.m. The MP from the Samajwadi Party reached over here around 12:30 a.m. itself, and then after the tussle that happened between him and the Delhi police, he left from the spot. Was he active from behind the scenes? This is something that the Delhi police is investigating, because he was not present over here when the demolition drive had started. He had arrived just probably an hour before the demolition drive was supposed to start, and barricades were being put up over here by the Delhi police, and it is at that point that this entire tussle had broken out. So prima facie, it is not seeming like that there is a direct link, but the angle has not been ruled out that he could be one of the persons who could have been instigating the crowd from behind the scenes through social media apps, through WhatsApp, through sending out messages. This is something that is still being looked into. So a clean sheet has absolutely not been given to him at this point in time. Investigations are underway. Once the statements of the other accused happens, then and definitely the Delhi police is asking this question of if at all they were instigated by the MP, or who was the person who was asking them who was in fact telling them that the mosque is being demolished. So that is something that is being investigated. Definitely a clean sheet has not been given to anyone at this point in time, and the manner in which the Samajwadi Party MP from Rampur was present out here in the national capital on the day of the demolition of the illegal structures of the mosque. This is something that actually smells fishy, and that is what is now being investigated by the Delhi police.
Right, Anshul, do stay on with us, because just to give a sense to our viewers where exactly this incident transpired. Turkman Gate is where the stone pelting took place, where the demolition drive was happening when the stone pelting took place. This is very close to a lot of historical places in the national capital. In fact, it's not very far away from the seat of power of the country, which is the parliament. But let's get you a sense of where this particular place is. Turkman Gate this is where the demolition drive was taking place near Turkman Gate. Outside a mosque area. The mosque was not to be touched. All of the illegal encroachments around it was what was being demolished in this drive. Look at how close it is to all of the places that are of historical significance to the national capital and to the country. The Red Fort is about 2.5 kilometers away. The parliament, like I said, the seat of power is just 5 kilometers away, where we saw this kind of democracy take place in the wee hours of this morning. The Kartavya Path is about 4 kilometers away. India Gate right there, right on that street from the Kartavya Path on the other side is India Gate. That is where, that is too about 4 kilometers or so. What is even more interesting is that there are several other locations like the Rashtrapati Bhavan or Seven Lok Kalyan Marg, which is the Prime Minister's residence, all of which are in close proximity to where this took place, and that is why this makes it even more serious. Anshul continues to be with us, getting us more perspective on this. Anshul, the kind of scenes that we saw, the kind of mobilization that went into getting all of those people there, that is going to be important, because all it took is a few videos and few WhatsApp messages for such kind of anarchy to be unleashed in the national capital, and that's concerning.
Well, definitely that is very, very concerning, and taking that point forward of how crucial this entire location is, I'll ask my video journalist Sumit Jaguri to show you that the MCD house, the civic center is right over here, is present right over here, approximately 100 meters away from this location. And why this mosque has found itself in the middle of controversy? Remember, during the Delhi blast that happened in November, Umar, who was the main accused, who blew himself outside the Red Fort, this was the last location that he visited. There were several CCTV footages that had come out in which he was seen inside this very campus that has now been demolished. He was seen inside the mosque as well. And after this, he took his vehicle from here and then parked it in the Red Fort parking. So this location is a very, very crucial location, is a part of the investigation that is being done by the national investigating agencies. Talking about the mobilization that has happened, thankfully the peace committee meetings and other meetings that were taking place over the last 2 days, they were able to propagate this message to the locals of this area, to a large population, that the mosque will not be touched and the structures in and around that mosque will be demolished. And this was agreed upon by the mosque committee and other members of the peace committee who were senior members of the community. And that is the reason why, even after the instigation that was being tried upon by these anti-social elements, we did not see a huge crowd gather over here. Right. There was only these 35 to 40 people who had this intention in their head that they want to disrupt the peace over here. They wanted to dislodge the police from the location, and they wanted to create some sort of a security situation over here. It was just these 35 to 40 people who reached over here, who tried to take the laws in their own hand, who tried to instigate more and more people, who tried to propagate this fake message that the mosque will be demolished, and hence they are being looked after, they are being identified by the Delhi police at this point.
Right, Anshul, do stay on with us. We have some more breaking information that's now trickling in. The Delhi High Court order which mandated this demolition of illegal encroachments has now been accessed by CNN News 18. This is what the order reads, that encroachments were found on PWD roads on MCD and PWD lane, which is why MCD and PWD departments were ordered to clear these illegal businesses, that they must be shut down. This is what the order clearly stated. Ananya, my colleague, joins us, getting us details of that order. Aman will be joining us shortly as well. Ananya, you've accessed this order, which makes it very clear as to what was to be part of this demolition drive. The fact that the mosque was not to be touched was made very clear. Despite that, we saw the kind of viral videos that went out, rumor mongering about what was happening.
Well, absolutely. In fact, it is an order of the Delhi High Court. In the end, it also says that order needs to be, presented and has to be executed expeditiously as well. And that's the reason why the authorities had swung into action. In fact, this is an order of December 2025, and another order was passed yesterday, whose order copy is yet not available on the website of the stated yesterday as well that this action is to continue, and there was no kind of a stay per se that was granted by the Delhi High Court. At this juncture, this was an action that was warranted. This was an action where it was also stated.
We'll try and reconnect that line with my colleague Ananya. He's the one who's accessed the details of this particular order. But Aman also joins us and he'll be taking us through the operative bits of what exactly the order said. And in very clear terms, Aman, the order made it clear as to what was going to be demolished and what was not.
Well, absolutely. And if you read this order, it's very, very clear that there was a joint survey which was conducted by the officials of the MCD, of the Delhi Development Authority and the Land and Development Office, the Ministry of Urban Development. And what they found about these particular records show that in an area of 2,512 square feet, the encroachment on the road belonged to the PWD and a footpath was found. Then it was said in an area of 36,428 feet. Here you see that. They are saying that encroachment has been found and this said land is thought to belong to the MCD, where as per the joint survey report, currently a Bharat Ghar and other commercial activities like a parking and a private diagnostic center are going on illegally. Very clear, the High Court order says that. Then it says in an area of 7,343 square feet, there is a mosque and a Qabristan, which land, according to the report, has not been transferred to the LNDO to the MCD. So clearly, this is the illegal land which the High Court order has spoken about. And later it says, so far as the existence of the mosque and the Qabristan is concerned, the said land belongs to the LNDO, and according to the LNDO officials, to protect the said property. So it is clearly saying that the mosque and the Qabristan is going to be protected. They are not to be touched. But this entire land, almost I would say 43,000 square feet of land which is lying encroached, which includes the Barat Ghar, the commercial activities where they've been carried out in the private diagnostic center. These are going on illegally. The High Court gave a very, very clear direction that these had to be demolished, and the authorities were given a time of 30 days to demolish it. This order is of 12 December. So there was before 12 January, the authorities had to do it, and they have done whatever they have done as per this High Court order, as per the legal orders. They have not touched the mosque or the Qabristan, but these three encroachments, which the order very clearly speaks about, the encroachment on the road belonging to the PWD, the area of 36,428 square feet, which is the Barat Ghar and the private diagnostic center, which is a land belonging to the MCD, and the area of 7,343 square feet with mosque and Qabristan is there. That land is not to be touched. So almost I can say 40,000 square feet of land was encroached, and that is where the demolition has been carried out.
Now, as far as this petition and this based on which this order came out, they had also done some sort of research, Aman, and we had the petitioner on CNN News 18 just a short while ago as well, and he made it clear that this land, all of which belongs to the government, either the PWD or to the MCD, and only the land that was where the mosque is housed, only that has been allotted to the Waqf board. That sort of blows the lid off what Owaisi and several others have been saying, that all of this was Waqf land.
Clear. That is what I think the survey, the joint survey, as I was saying, carried out by the officials of the MCD, the Delhi Development Authority, the Land and Development Office, Revenue Department. 4 departments along with the police officials carried out this particular joint survey, and the joint survey records have been put out before the Delhi High Court, where clearly it is said that nearly, I would say, 40,000 square feet of land is encroachment. Either it is a road belonging to the PWD where a footpath has been found, or the land which belongs to where a Barat Ghar has been built for commercial activities, or a private diagnostic center. It clearly says that the land where the mosque and the Qabristan exist, 7,343 square feet. This has not been transferred to the LNDO to the MCD, so it is not to be. It is for the LNDO to officials to protect the said property. So clearly, the mosque and the Qabristan stand protected, while the other encroachments are the ones which the court directed to be removed within a period of 1 month. It gave a very specific deadline to the authorities, and the authorities seem to have acted as per that deadline. And the joint survey also carried out by 5 agencies, different agencies, both the state as well as central officials and the police officials, clearly pointing out those encroachments, I think blows the lid off the claim by some that this demolition is completely illegal. Well, it has been carried out clearly as per the orders of the court.
Absolutely, Aman. Thank you so much for getting us the latest on that. Ananya is the one who accessed that particular order for us. That should be the answer to everyone within opposition ranks who are questioning this kind of action that was taken by the MCD, because this was a court-mandated demolition drive, not one at the whim of the BJP or the government in Delhi, as the opposition was claiming. But here are some questions that emerge. Why is it that we saw several of these religious slogans that were being chanted at that particular demolition drive, even though it was court mandated? Why was a religious color given to it in the first place? The kind of mobilization that we saw against the law enforcers, against the MCD officers, does that prove a pre-planned pattern of pelting? Because there are several videos to attest to the fact that there was provocation, there was a mobilization plan that was put in place. There was a Samajwadi Party MP who was present at that particular site as well. He has previously called for jihad. Why was he leading these agitators, jostling with the police? Shouldn't he, as a member of parliament, have tried to temper down the tensions that were taking place there at Turkman Gate? The rioting that we saw yesterday, does that fit in a familiar pattern of the kind of mobilization that we've seen, a sectarian one at that? And does one community believe that it is above the writ of the Indian law? That's a question many are asking today, because that's exactly what the likes of Assaduddin Owaisi and many others in the Samajwadi Party are claiming, that this action is by the BJP just to target one particular community. But they seem to forget that there is a court order to back this demolition drive, which is exactly what was happening yesterday. Anshul, my colleague, continues to be with us, getting us more details on this. Anshul, as far as the investigation goes, it's been over 12 to 18 hours, but so far only 5 people have been arrested. What is the police saying? What is the delay in tracking down the rest?
Well, there is no delay per se in tracking down the accused at this point. The identification process is something that takes time, because as I mentioned, that the Delhi police has taken CCTV dump from almost 100 CCTV cameras that are located over here. Apart from that, there is footage from the body cams of the Delhi police officers as well, and that will take some time for the police, because that has to be done manually to go through that entire footage, but I'll just show you the pace of the investigation. Special CP Ravindra Yadav has just arrived over here, and he is also trying to get a sense of what transpired over here and how this entire demolition drive was carried out, and what were the issues that were initially faced by the people or by the police over here. So definitely the top bosses of the Delhi police are themselves on the ground, are themselves trying to get a sense as to what transpired and what actually went wrong, who were the people who were responsible as well. Now, talking about the encroachment that was done over here, the legal land, as it has been mentioned in that High Court order that has been accessed by our colleague Ananya, you can see that this is the only land that was allotted to the Waqf. Now, this land of the mosque has absolutely been untouched. Right next to the mosque is this Barat Ghar that has yet again found its space in the High Court order as well. This Barat Ghar, you can see that this entire area of the Barat Ghar, if you could see the intensity or the exact size, this is a massive Barat Ghar or a guest house that has been made over here, and you can see how big, how massive is this. You can see the debris that is lying over here. It actually tells an entire story of how massive was this Barat Ghar that was present over here. On the left hand side over here is the location where the dispensary that was functioning over here, and that dispensary was also functioning absolutely illegally. So this entire area actually belonged to either the PWD or the MCD, but this was encroached upon illegally by the masjid officials. Now you can see that this is the allotted land and the gates of the masjid. If I could show you the other end, the gates of the masjid are on the far end of this entire stretch, approximately 60 to 70 meters away from the masjid, probably 100 meters away from the masjid is the main gate of the masjid. Now this entire area was also encroached upon by the masjid committee. So it actually tells an entire story that how over the last few years or the last many years, the masjid committee has gone ahead and slowly expanded its reach over here, or its width over here in this Turkman Gate area, which is one of the most expensive places. The worth of this land could actually be in hundreds of crores, because if I could just show you on the other side, this is the Turkman Gate. The Turkman Gate is right on this, right in front of this masjid. So this tells an entire story how this prime land location was slowly encroached upon by the masjid committee, and then eventually after the court orders, when the masjid, the encroached area was being demolished, some anti-social elements tried to disrupt it, but yes, they are being identified at this point in time, and within the next 24 to 36 hours, we can expect that the identification process will come to an end, and then the search operations for these people would be undertaken by the Delhi police.
Right, Anshul, do stay on with us. In fact, you did speak with a member of the local Aman committee there who said that there was a meeting with the Delhi police and an agreement was reached for the demolition. The police had made it clear that the structure of the mosque will not be demolished. Only the encroached structures, the shops and businesses were going to be removed. But rumours were spread. That is the claim that has now come to the fore from the Aman committee spokesperson there, making it very clear that there was an agreement with the Delhi police before the demolition drive took place.
पीस कमेटी की मीटिंग भी हुई थी पहले, उस मीटिंग में क्या फैसले लिए गए थे और क्या मैसेजिंग की गई थी?
सर, हमारी परसों मीटिंग हुई थी सेंट्रल डिस्ट्रिक्ट साहब से, जो हमारे डीसीपी हैं, और हमने थाने लेवल पर भी अपने लोगों को बुला कर उनके साथ मीटिंग की थी, और पुलिस की तरफ से हमको ये आश्वासन दिया गया था कि मस्जिद को कोई नुकसान नहीं पहुंचेगा। जो उसके आगे का हिस्सा है, जहाँ पे शादी वगैरह होती है, ये एक डिस्पेंसरी है जो कि डेमोलिशन के उसके ऑर्डर है हाई कोर्ट की तरफ से, तो उसमें एमसीडी कार्रवाई करेगी। तो हम लोगों ने भी पुलिस को आश्वासन दिया था, हम लोग अमन कमेटी से हैं, कि हम आपके साथ पूरा कोऑपरेट करेंगे, और हमने किया। मगर कल जो लोगों ने पथराव किया है यहाँ आके, ये जिस तरह के माहौल बिगाड़ने की कोशिश की, तो हमने लोगों को पहचाना, वो हमारे यहाँ के लोग नहीं थे, बाहर के लोग थे। इसमें हमें कोई साजिश लगती है जिसने हमारे यहाँ का माहौल ख़राब करा।
कौन, आपको क्या लगता है कौन लोग हैं ये जो इस तरह से शांति भंग करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं इस इलाके में?
सर देखिए, इलाकों को बदनाम करने के लिए या मुस्लिम समाज को बदनाम करने के हर तरीके के लोग होते हैं, जो अपनी तरफ से पूरी कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि यहाँ का नाम ख़राब हो, फिर अपने एरिया में बदनामी फैले। मगर हमारी कोशिश यही है कि अभी भी हम इसको रोकें और इसको और आगे न बढ़ने दें।
Anshul continues to be with us. Anshul, an explosive claim there coming to the fore that there was in fact an agreement that was reached between the police and the Aman committee there. Why is it then we saw the kind of rumours that were spread?
Well, yes, that is something that will have to be investigated by the Delhi police, because the members of the Aman committee and the peace committee who are members of the community of this entire area. Remember, this is a minority dominated area over here in Old Delhi, and there are some senior members of and they are kept in that committee just because they have a huge say amongst the people, amongst the locals of this area. And these were the people who propagated, who in fact gave out this message that the mosque will remain untouched, but the illegally encroached land or the illegally encroached structures would be brought down. And this message was given to the locals of this area as well. Now, peace committee members or Aman committee members are telling us that these were people who came out who could have been not from this area, but yes, the 5 people who have been arrested are locals of this area itself. They did not come from outside. They have been identified as locals of this area itself. All their residences are just right behind me, behind the Turkman gate. All these 5 people were residents of this area, itself. And these were just a few handful of anti-social elements who were trying to disrupt the work of the police and the MCD over here. And they are being identified now. Who was the mastermind? Who was behind this? Was there a larger conspiracy to instigate more and more people? Was there a larger conspiracy to propagate fake news and fake information to the people? Was there a larger conspiracy to get more people angry and hit the streets? Somewhere or the other, this angle is something that is being investigated by the Delhi police, and this is going to be very, very crucial in the next few days. Yes, 5 people have been taken into custody. They are being interrogated at this point in time. Their phones have also been taken into custody by the Delhi police, and through those phones, the WhatsApp chats, remember there are several WhatsApp groups that have been made particularly to just make sure that this video gets spread like a wildfire, and then eventually people get angry. They think that their mosque has been demolished and old mosque has been demolished, and then they hit the streets, and then some sort of a tussle that breaks out, and some sort of a riots that start over here in this Turkman Gate area. But thankfully to the awareness of Delhi police, thankfully to the messaging that was done by the peace committee and senior members of the community over here, a large part of the local crowd did not gather over here. They were inside their houses. They were looking from their houses as to what is happening, but not a lot of them were able to hit the streets, did not come out on the streets, due to which the stone pelting that happened just for a few minutes, and as soon as the police got into action, all of them dispersed and went into the small bylanes of Old Delhi. So definitely, who was the mastermind? This is something that will have to be looked into very, very closely and seriously by the Delhi police.
Absolutely, Anshul. Thank you so much for getting us the latest on that front. Do keep a track of where the investigation goes. There were several policemen that were injured in that stone pelting as well. My colleague spoke to one of them. Listen into that conversation.
विक्रम, सर पे तो दिख ही रहा है, लेकिन किस तरह से आपको सर पे चोट लगा और शरीर के कई दूसरे हिस्सों पे भी क्या चोट लगी है?
सर पे पत्थर लगा, एक पत्थर यहाँ पे लगा, यहाँ पे तो इतनी वो तेज लगा नहीं, पर यहाँ पे लगा, इसमें 3 टाँके आ रहे हैं बस।
अच्छा, 3 टाँके लगे हैं। तो किस तरह से, कितने बजे आप लोग पहुँचे थे, किस तरह से वहाँ पे हंगामा बरपा, और अचानक जब आपको लगी होगी तो निश्चित तौर पे आप गिरे होंगे, कुछ याद वहाँ पे जो बेसुध हो चुके होंगे, तो उसके बारे में बताइए।
जी, 11:30 रात हमारी SHO साहब के साथ ड्यूटी थी। वहाँ से ही भीड़ पहले से इकट्ठा थी, कम थी पहले, तो फिर वहाँ पे उन्होंने बोला, साहब ने बोला कि यहाँ से चले जाओ। चले भी गए थे काफ़ी बंदे, फिर काफ़ी भीड़ और भी आ गई, और वहाँ हज मंजिल के पास में वहाँ पे ज़्यादा इकट्ठी हो गई। SHO साहब थे आगे ही, वो समझा रहे थे उनको, उनके साथ में हमारी ड्यूटी थी। उन्होंने काफ़ी देर तक समझाया, नहीं मानी भीड़, ज़्यादा एज जवान बच्चे थे, नहीं मान रहे थे, इसलिए फिर वहाँ एक वो है हज मंजिल के पास में एक दरवाज़ा, उसे बंद करने, कड़ी पे दरवाज़ा लग रहा है, उसे बंद करने कर रहे थे, वो बंद करने नहीं दे रहे थे, वहाँ से पथराव चालू हो गया था।
We'll keep a track of what the larger conspiracy in this case is, and if there is a pattern to this entire stone pelting and pelting terror that we're seeing in the national capital. We'll keep a track of that and much more here on The Nation at 5. But for now, it's time for a quick break.
This is News 18 Network. largest news network.
League from News 18 India, Javed was bringing you that report. This is what happened at 3 a.m. when that demolition drive was being conducted by the officials very close to this mosque area around Turkman Gate in the national capital. That's when stone pelting started by very many of the people who were in opposition of this demolition drive. These miscreants, unidentified people, there were some cases, an FIR that was registered against them, and now we're learning of how 5 people who were earlier detained and now they have been arrested by the police officially. That is the latest that we're picking up, even as the politicking continues between the BJP and the Congress over this entire demolition drive and the nabbing of the 5 people so far by the Delhi police. Anshul continues to be with us on the broadcast. Anshul, you are bringing to us a ground report. We are also hearing the commissioner who has said that it'll take this one more day to clear out the debris from that area, and there are JCVs that have been pressed into actions for just that.
Well, yes, the clearance operation is still underway. There is no other demolition operation that will be undertaken by the MCD for today or in the coming future regarding the mosque area. The enclosed structure has already been demolished, and over the next 1 to 2 days it will take some time for all the debris to clear out, because there is a lot of debris. There was a huge structure that was constructed over there which was illegally constructed, and that has been brought down, and that is becoming a big issue, a big operation for the MCD to carry out these operations. More and more trucks are being called in, more and more people are being officers are being called in to look over the operations of clearing up this entire debris that has now collected on the roads. But yes, the manner in which this entire operation was conducted, it was specifically selected that the demolition drive should take place in the middle of the night, so that there are less people who could gather over there, because there were intelligence inputs that had actually stated that there could be miscreants who could actually try to disrupt the operations that will be undertaken by the police, and hence this time of approximately 1:30 a.m. in the morning was actually chosen by the MCD officers. But even after that, there were anti-social elements who were able to get over here, who were able to disrupt this entire try to disrupt this entire operation, and that is the reason why now the FIR that has been registered by the Delhi police are actually under very stringent and non-bailable sections, which means that these people who have been arrested, it will be very difficult for them to secure any kind of bail or any kind of relief immediately. But now 5 people have been taken into custody. If I could just show you around over here in the visuals as well, there is a heavy deployment of security forces that can be seen on the ground. Apart from that, the debris that is being moved, there is a huge amount of debris. There was a huge encroachment that was happening over here, and that encroachment has also been removed. This one mosque is of particular importance and has been a part of controversy as well, because remember, during the Delhi blast, the main accused Umar, he had visited this mosque right before going to the Red Fort and parking his vehicle in the parking. So this was the mosque that he had visited in, and since then this mosque has been a part of the investigation that is being done by the NIA as well. So this one mosque was pretty controversial, but yes, over here you can see the amount of debris that is collected over here. You can see the amount of land that was encroached upon. More than 4,700 square meter of land was actually encroached upon, which could be worth in crores at this point, right in this very important area of the national capital. This debris that is being removed, it could take actually days for the authorities to clear this entire debris up, and that is the reason why the commissioner of MCD has just said that it would take them another 24 to 48 hours to do away with all this debris and then clear up the roads so that normal traffic operations could start yet again. But yes, at this point in time, the situation has gotten back to normal.
Okay.
There is peace that can be seen over here, but yes, there is heavy security deployment that has still been made on ground zero.
Right, thank you so much for that, Anshul. We keep coming back to you as and when we have more inputs on this story, but Anshul bringing you the exact situation on ground as the demolition drive by the officials has been completed around Turkman Gate, and right now the entire debris is being removed.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest News Network.
League from News 18 India, Javed was bringing you that report. This is what happened at 3 a.m. when that demolition drive was being conducted by the officials very close to this mosque.
Welcome back. You're watching Nation at 5 with me, Poonam Burde. There's some breaking news that's now coming in. The Madras High Court has stayed the release of a book that allegedly targeted Justice G.R. Swaminathan. According to the petitioner, the very title and cover design of the book was scandalous, abusive and derogatory. That petition has now gotten victory in the Madras High Court, in fact, and the High Court has called this book scandalous and abusive. It's echoed the petitioner's view. Ananya, my colleague, now joins us, getting us more details on this. Ananya, what more can you tell us? What transpired in court?
Well, absolutely. The High Court has very categorically held that, this is a book that is scandalous in nature and has strayed, this particular book. And that is exactly, a big relief coming in for Justice G.R. Swaminathan as well. G.R. Swaminathan has been under controversy for quite a long time because we saw how his verdict in the Deepam row was also, somewhere or the other taken away. Impeachment motion was moved against him. And he remains to be under a lot of controversy for his other orders as well. So very clearly, at this juncture, this seems to be a kind of a relief that comes in for Justice G.R. Swaminathan from the Madras High Court itself. So very, it's a very, very significant order as far as the judge of the Madras High Court is concerned. And very clearly, the book being called scandalous and something that is not correct as well.
Right. Ananya, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that front. Moving on now. Nearly a month after the devastating fire at the Birch by Romeo Lane nightclub in North Goa left 25 people dead and more than 50 injured, the tragedy is back in focus. The Goa government has turned down the opposition's demand to discuss illegal nightclubs and the issue of corruption in the assembly that is going to begin soon. Instead, they've decided to hold a special discussion on 150 years of Vande Mataram. The winter session of the assembly is scheduled to begin from January 12th, and the opposition wanted to discuss local issues, but the speaker has allowed for a discussion on 150 years of Vande Mataram and not a discussion on illegal nightclubs. The Congress is mounting its attack. The BJP government has assured that action is being taken against these illegal clubs and no further discussion is required.
There have been demands in wanting for a discussion for that. How do you look at that response by the Chief Minister of Goa in not allowing the State Assembly to function with the discussion on that?
This is basically a man-made tragedy. Now, man-made tragedy born out of illegalities. When I say illegalities, this is basically negligence and a systematic failure. It was not an accident. This was not an act of fate. It was murder. There has to be a discussion or a special discussion on the administration on the Black Friday that happened that particular day, where 25 lives were lost. But it was the Chief Minister, as usual, in his dictatorial style, who went ahead and said that such type of discussion could be discussed during the governor's address. Today, if you see, they added the Vande Mataram episode, where they've added that to the agenda to be spoken. We've got a short session of only 4 days. 4 days of discussion under suspension of rules like 306. They go ahead and they add whatever they want. So basically, this government does not want to discuss any agenda that is people-centric because we are going to expose them. We are 7 in numbers in the opposition. But when it comes, we might belong to different political parties. But when it comes to protecting the right of Goa, the way today Goa is run into like a jungle raj. It is a crisis where you see Goa today is burning. And I would say we will expose this government, even though they have not given, it is a short session, we will not allow this government to use and abuse the Vande Mataram to dress up their dirty and broken windows. They're trying to basically divert this issue. And I would say that when we talk about Vande Mataram, I bow to the mother. I bow to my land, my soil, my mother, India and Goa. But at the same time, we have to also vow to protect our hills, our mountains, our forests and rivers. Today, what we see is nothing but an onslaught on the state of Goa, on Goa's identity and demography. And with whatever means possible in this short session, we will make sure that this government is exposed.
Moving on now to a CNN News 18 campaign. Wrong side driving, and it's a menace across the country. It demands stricter punishment, and we here on CNN News 18 are making that appeal to our lawmakers, to those who have the power to make decisions, to policy change makers, to try and put a sense of why exactly it is that we see wrong side driving take place every single minute across the country. Unfortunately, there has been another incident that has now come to the fore. CCTV footage from Bhagalpur in Bihar shows a Wagoner speeding on the wrong side. It rams into a cyclist head-on. The victim sustained serious injuries, was rushed to a hospital nearby. The driver of the Wagoner, what's even more shocking, is a doctor. Eyewitnesses say the car came at a high speed, leaving no chance for the cyclist to escape. Despite the crash happening on one of the city's busiest roads, the police failed to arrive even an hour later. And that's even worse. Chandramohan Rai, my colleague, joins us, getting us more details on this. Chandramohan, बताया जा रहा है कि ये जो विक्टिम है, साइकिलिस्ट है इस केस में, वो अभी भी अस्पताल में है. क्या डॉक्टर की गिरफ्तारी हो चुकी है?
बिल्कुल, देखिए उसको पुलिस ने हिरासत में रखा है और उससे पूछताछ की जा रही है कि आखिर क्या वजह थी कि इतने ओवर स्पीडिंग करके तेज रफ्तार गाड़ी लेकर ये जा रहे थे और तभी सामने से आ रहा एक साइकिल सवार को इन्होंने टक्कर मार दी, जिसकी वजह से 20 फीट ऊंचाई तक लड़का जो साइकिल से आ रहा था वो उछल गया है। ये घटना भागलपुर जिले के तिलका मांझी के भव्या इलाके का है और तस्वीरों में भी साफ तौर पर देखा जा सकता है कि किस तरह से रॉन्ग साइड में ये जो कार है वो पहुंची है और उसके बाद तेज रफ्तार जाकर इस साइकिल सवार को टक्कर मारी है, जिसके बाद उसकी स्थिति गंभीर बताई जा रही है और अभी वो अस्पताल में भर्ती है और अब तक उसकी पहचान भी नहीं हो पाई है। हालांकि इस सीसीटीवी के सामने आने के बाद पूरे मामले की जांच चल रही है और कार्रवाई की बात की जा रही है कि आखिर किस हालात में ये घटना हुई है।
जी चंद्रमोहन, धन्यवाद हमसे बात करने के लिए and for getting us those details. But it's time that such incidents come to a stop. There has to be a stronger deterrent, a stronger law perhaps, heavier penalties or imprisonment even for wrong side driving. And that's really the campaign that we have running for you here on CNN News 18, because every single life matters and it is our duty as individuals, as citizens of this country, to ensure that we don't endanger our own life and anybody else's out on the roads. With that, it's time for a quick break on this edition of Nation at 5. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
From News 18 India, Javed was bringing you that report. This is what happened at 3 a.m. when that demolition drive was being conducted by the officials very close to this mosque area around Turkman Gate in the national capital. That's when stone pelting started by very many of the people who were in opposition of this demolition drive. These miscreants, unidentified people, there were some cases, an FIR that was registered against them, and now we're learning of how 5 people who were earlier detained and now they have been arrested by the police officially. That is the latest that we're picking up, even as the politicking continues between the BJP and the Congress over this entire demolition drive and the nabbing of the 5 people so far by the Delhi police. Anshul continues to be with us on the broadcast. Anshul, you are bringing to us ground report. We are also hearing the commissioner who has said that it'll take this one more day to clear out the debris from that area, and there are JCVs that have been pressed into actions for just that.
Well, yes, the clearance operation is still underway. There is no other demolition operation that will be undertaken by the MCD for today or for the or in the coming future regarding the mosque area. The enclosed structure has already been demolished, and over the next 1 to 2 days, it will take some time for all the debris to clear out, because there is a lot of debris. There was a huge structure that was constructed over there, which was illegally constructed, and that has been brought down, and that is becoming a big issue, a big operation for the MCD to carry out these operations. More and more trucks are being called in, more and more people are being officers are being called in to look over the operations of clearing up this entire debris that has now collected on the roads. But yes, the manner in which this entire operation was conducted, it was specifically selected that the demolition drive should take place in the middle of the night, so that there are less people who could gather over there, because there were intelligence inputs that had actually stated that there could be miscreants who could actually try to disrupt the operations that will be undertaken by the police, and hence this time of approximately 1:30 a.m. in the morning was actually chosen by the MCD officers. But even after that, there were anti-social elements who were able to get over here, who were able to disrupt this entire try to disrupt this entire operation, and that is the reason why now the FIR that has been registered by the Delhi police are actually under very stringent and non-bailable sections, which means that these people who have been arrested, it will be very difficult for them to secure any kind of bail or any kind of relief immediately. But now 5 people have been taken into custody. If I could just show you around over here in the visuals as well, there is a heavy deployment of security forces that can be seen on the ground. Apart from that, the debris that is being moved, there is a huge amount of debris. There was a huge encroachment that was happening over here, and that encroachment has also been removed. This one mosque is of particular importance and has been a part of controversy as well, because remember, during the Delhi blast, the main accused Umar, he had visited this mosque right before going to the Red Fort and parking his vehicle in the parking. So this was the mosque that he had visited in, and since then this mosque has been a part of the investigation that is being done by the NIA as well. So this one mosque was pretty controversial, but yes, over here you can see the amount of debris that is collected over here. You can see the amount of land that was encroached upon. More than 4,700 square meter of land was actually encroached upon, which could be worth in crores at this point, right in this very important area of the national capital. This debris that is being removed, it could take actually days for the authorities to clear this entire debris up, and that is the reason why the commissioner of MCD has just said that it would take them another 24 to 48 hours to do away with all this debris and then clear up the roads so that normal traffic operations could start yet again. But yes, at this point in time, the situation has gotten back to normal.
Okay.
There is peace that can be seen over here. But yes, there is heavy security deployment that has still been made on ground zero.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Anshul. We keep coming back to you as and when we have more inputs on the story. But Anshul, bringing you the exact situation on ground as the demolition drive by the officials has been completed around Turkman Gate, and right now the entire debris is being removed.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
From News 18 India, Javed was bringing you that report. This is what happened at 3 a.m. when that demolition drive was being conducted by the officials very close to this mosque area around Turkman Gate in the national capital. That's when stone pelting started by very many of the people who were in opposition of this demolition drive. These miscreants, unidentified people, there were some cases, an FIR that was registered against them, and now we're learning of how 5 people who were earlier detained and now they have been arrested by the police officially. That is the latest that we're picking up, even as the politicking continues between the BJP and the Congress over this entire demolition drive and the nabbing of the 5 people so far by the Delhi police. Anshul continues to be with us on the broadcast. Anshul, you are bringing to us ground report. We are also hearing the commissioner who has said that it'll take this one more day to clear out the debris from that area, and there are JCVs that have been pressed into actions for just that.
Well, yes, the clearance operation is still underway. There is no other demolition operation that will be undertaken by the MCD for today or for the or in the coming future regarding the mosque area. The enclosed structure has already been demolished, and over the next 1 to 2 days, it will take some time for all the debris to clear out, because there is a lot of debris. There was a huge structure that was constructed over there, which was illegally constructed, and that has been brought down, and that is becoming a big issue, a big operation for the MCD to carry out these operations. More and more trucks are being called in, more and more people are being...
Welcome back. We have some breaking information that's now coming in, and this is a CNN News 18 exclusive. Pakistan's Defence Minister Khwaja Asif has said that the nation's dependence on the IMF will be reducing. Top Pakistan defence sources are now telling CNN News 18 that Pakistan has secured an $8 billion defence order from friendly countries, which is why the defence minister there goes on to show confidence and boast about how they do not need the IMF anymore. Siddhant, my colleague, is now joining us, getting us more details on this. Siddhant, what more can you tell us?
Well, that's right. So this claim has been made by Defence Minister Khwaja Asif. Now, he has to say that Pakistan secured $8 billion defence orders from friendly countries: Azerbaijan, Bangladesh, Saudi Arabia, Libya, UAE, Turkey, Morocco, Nigeria and Iraq have made agreements, MOUs for defence procurement with Pakistan. Pakistan military industrial complex secures estimated $8 billion in defence exports. Arms deals contracts in 2025. Pakistan is also supplying arms and ammunition to Ukraine through Western Bridge. Pakistan is massively producing JF-17 Thunder jets, drones, small and medium air defense systems with radar, tanks, mortar shells, rockets, and small medium missiles. Tested and proven fighter jets. Pakistan is getting massive defense orders. Pakistan is getting massive defense orders from friendly countries. If we supply weapons and jets in time, Pakistan may write off IMF loans. So this is a big statement coming from Khwaja Asif. If India acts aggressively, again, Pakistan to respond in same style, was Khwaja Asif. The world witnessed Pakistan's resolve and military capabilities during the 2025 India-Pakistan conflict. This is what Khwaja Asif says. Now, intel sources are telling this to Manoj Gupta that Pakistan wants to give signal that they are self-sufficient to do anything. Pakistan is projecting defense export as an alternative foreign exchange earnings. Pakistan Army wants to maintain domestic narrative, especially when anti-army narrative established by Imran Khan. Pakistan is gaining strength domestically by fake narrative of winning Operation Sindhu. Back to you.
Right, Siddhant, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that front. Shifting focus back home now on what transpired in the Delhi Assembly, the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party sparred over insults to Sikh Guru. The BJP accused Atishi and several other MLAs of the Aam Aadmi Party for using insensitive words against Guru Tegh Bahadur, seeking an apology. Atishi, who was not in the assembly when the uproar ensued this morning, was asked to be present and explain her stance. The Delhi Assembly witnessed repeated disruptions today after BJP MLAs staged protests inside the house. Done.
The Delhi Assembly on Wednesday witnessed ruckus as the MLA of the ruling party BJP jumped to the well, opposing the comments made by opposition leader Atishi. Atishi on Tuesday, while a discussion was on, made some comments allegedly against the religious leaders, and now the BJP MLAs are calling her anti-Sikh and demanding action not just against the Aam Aadmi Party but also against Kejriwal and Atishi. All the MLAs are in the well right now protesting against the comments made by Atishi. The assembly, however, has yet not made the comments public. With just 30 minutes into operation, the Delhi Assembly is yet again has been adjourned for at least 30 minutes now, with the Speaker asking Atishi to be present in the House in next 1 hour, that is by 12:30. I am in the Assembly and we can see that the BJP MLAs are still protesting against the comments made by Atishi. They are saying that they don't need an apology, but they want action against Atishi and Aam Aadmi Party as well.
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. What began as an anti-encroachment operation by the MCD in Delhi, in the heart of the capital, has snowballed into a political flashpoint. The demolition drive ordered by Delhi High Court, targeting structures adjoining the Faiz-e-Ilahi Masjid. As bulldozers rolled in, resistance mounted. Crowds gathered, stones were hurled, glass bottles rained down, and police personnel were injured. Tear gas had to be used to disperse the mob, and 5 arrests have been made so far. Multiple videos have emerged. Crowds, it appears, were not spontaneous, as they hardly are, but deliberately mobilized. Religious slogans were raised. What makes this episode even more combustible is the political link. Samajwadi Party MP Mahbubullah Nadwi was seen at the site. Was he lending legitimacy to mobocracy, then, is the question. Political leaders are now raising questions of selective targeting, pointing to temples nearby that remain untouched. The narrative of victimhood is being woven, and the judiciary itself is being dragged into the political storm. But as the dust settles over the Turkman Gate episodes, the capital stares at a